Here we go. All right, I want to welcome everyone to our Zoom today where Tanya McGuire is the presenter. And it is June, 13th. And today we will be making a never-ending abandoned wall art journal. And that's a mouthful right there. But everyone should have gotten a supply sheet in their email. And let me tell you a little bit about Tanya. So there are lots of places that you can follow Tanya. She has a link tree, which is one link that when you click on it, you can find her all over the internet. She is a full-time bead making artist. She's also a mixed media book artist, YouTuber, has a Facebook group. She has a boutique page where she sells a lot of her beautiful beads and other items. And she is on Instagram. So please follow her by clicking on the link that I'm going to put in the chat. If you're new to our Zoom program, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it. We get together once a month for 2 hours at a time. Usually it's the third week of the month, and it could be any day of the week. And it's always at 1 o'clock. And each month we have a different presenter. Getting some background noise from someplace. Not sure.
Oh, I'm going to mute me. I think Linda is vacuuming in the other room.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's quite all right. It's just going to be on the recording. No big deal. So each month we have a presenter who shares some sort of mixed media project, and the project usually lasts 1 to 1.5 hours. And then we have a show and tell at the end. We do record our lessons, and if you choose not to be on the recording, you do not have to be. You can be here without being on the recording. I just usually ask when we're doing the show and tell if you want to be recorded or you don't, and that's your choice. When we're recording the presenter, you are definitely not going to be on the recording. And that's about it. And I want to thank Tanya for being here, and let's get started with this project.
All righty. What I want to do first is explain what I meant by never ending. Basically, this book is what they call concertina, or it's a zigzag. It unfolds. It's a fan fold. But when you have even number of pages, so you can't do this well with 7 pages, you have to have 6 or 8. When you flip it, the way it picks up is the next fold picks up 2 pages, and so that each time you pick up, there's 2 pages till you get to the last one. You fold down, and then you start over again, and then you see the back sides of the pages that you missed in the first place. So that's how come it becomes never ending. I called it abandoned walls because I thought that's what it looked like, was abandoned walls. The journal aspect of it comes from having lots of stuff. This is paper bag, coffee dyed cardstock, just coffee dyed paper, just stuff to stick into the pockets that we're going to make in a little bit. I want to go over what we're going to use different supplies for, just in case you don't have something. One thing there, I mentioned glue, and I use this mono aqua liquid glue a lot. And for this, I'm afraid that glue stick is not going to work well because cardboard does not let glue stick to it very well. So if you're not using something like this, you probably want tacky glue. I didn't want to use my standard everyday thing, Mod Podge, because I didn't want this to be glossy, for one, and secondly, we don't have time for it to dry. The ransom note letters are letters cut out that make it look like you've written a ransom note, or my thing about it, the book, was to make it look like things had been torn off the wall and you were left with little parts and pieces of it. The string is to tie our pages together here. When it comes to the scrapbook paper wallpaper, thank you. It just went away.
I know, I get it. I feel
totally
it.
went away, and I just realized I missed a connection. Okay, I've been playing with this book for weeks, and I've missed a connection right there, which is good. I could show you how to fix it in a little while.
Okay.
You could use, these are for the pockets, and you could use paper bag for the pockets if you wanted to, instead of wallpaper or scrapbook paper. That would be fine. You want some images. I have put threads and fabrics down. One of the places that I want fabric is to make a belly band. Okay, and it's just a scrap of fabric that I had. You could use your wallpaper there. I used the embroidery floss to sew my pockets together. That's where I used the embroidery floss. So the string would work, doubled threads, anything like that. Pokey tool, of course, we're going to need because we have to poke holes in to either to tie it together or to put our pockets on. I actually used my crocodile to poke the big holes. That may be something that you choose to do or not. You can use a pokey tool. I think that's everything. I did use Posca pens and my Stabilo to, you know, highlight and write on it, do stuff like that.
Thank you for that overview. That was good. That overview, thank you. That was helpful.
Okay. It just kind of helps you know where we're headed. Okay. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you is don't throw anything away until we're totally done, because we will come back and put parts and pieces together. We may not get all of the pages worked on today just because of time. I don't know exactly how long it's going to take.
We never throw things away.
Yes, I know, but when you start peeling this cardboard, I don't want you to throw the pieces away. So,
good, because I didn't. I did peel mine a little bit, and I didn't throw anything.
She peeled, and she wasn't supposed to.
I had to. I'm helping, you know, doing the
recording. Okay. All right. Now, there are things on your cardboard that that you have to think about. Like, this is the sticky label. Well, the nice thing about it is that when we take it up and we start pulling it off, it makes it even more distressed. So the sticky label is not a big issue. Okay. So we can peel that off. But now I have got some very definite things that Amazon left on my box, like this one. On the first book, I actually I sliced it right along that line and made it look like it was part of the design to get rid of it. But then I didn't tear all of it off, so it's still there. This is a piece where it's double thick. I left it. So the first thing we're going to do is going to go through and make some distressed cardboard. Okay? And to do that, and this is where I guess I forgot to put the knife in it, the information for the knife. I usually take a craft knife and do a little cut, but be careful, don't cut too far through. And I knew there was something I was going to do. It might be a good idea to protect your table either with a book or something like that if you're heavy-handed with your knife. These are what I'm talking about. Don't throw them away. We'll have them all over the table before we're done, but I just pull it back and peel. And another thing you don't want to do is over peel. Get rid of the stuff you really don't like, but don't try to peel the whole piece of cardboard. You want it to look distressed, but not totally like the inside. We want parts left. Okay? So we're going to do that to 2 or 3 pages. Go for it, guys.
I have a question.
Okay.
I think I'm noticing a hole in one of your pages.
Yes, ma'am. Where'd it go? This page has a hole all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was, first off, I distressed one side. Then I turn it over and distress the other side. And then I find a spot on one of my, and I just kind of did parts and pieces. And then I was like, I want this to go all the way through. So I really started ripping it. It's just about how aggressive you are with ripping it. So if let's just do it to this page. Let me get it. And your pokey tool will help you grasp under there too if you don't have a craft knife handy. And you can leave some of this black stuff if you want.
Tanya, I have a question. I did a little light thing in here, but it's kind of hard to see where to start.
Okay. I'm sorry, where to start? You mean you cut it with your knife and you're not sure where to start?
I'm not sure.
Hold it up, Barb.
Some of the printed thing off. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, instead of going sideways like that, let me turn this over. Take your knife and put a reasonable cut into, okay, cardboard has tunnels in it. I guess it's
right. Which way do they go? How do you know?
If you look at the surface of your cardboard, you should be able to see it or feel it. If you look at the side of it, okay. See this? You can see the tunnels?
Yeah.
Okay, on this side, it looks more solid. So that would tell me that my tunnels are running this way.
Okay, I'm getting it.
Okay. And what I usually do is I usually kind of put a cross in it. And then I can, if not with my knife, then with my pokey tool.
Okay.
Pokey tool, ice pick, something like that. I can get under there and start tearing it back. And once you start tearing it back, you can usually stick something under there and yank it up. And remember, we're distressing it, so if you bend it a little bit, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
And I have another question regarding the direction of the corrugation on the cardboard. Does it matter when you're putting your pages together if the corrugation, if that's the right word to use, is going north-south or east-west or both?
Doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter? It's not going to affect anything in the book?
No, it's not going to affect the integrity of the book.
Okay.
It just so happened that this box cut this way, okay?
Right.
If they had cut this way, well, for that matter, this book could be put together endways too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to go with the tall side. It could go like this, and it would still be the same function.
Okay.
Okay. So if they go different directions, that's cool too. You just have different kinds of corrugated wall. Okay, so I have kind of pulled a little bit in both sides of this one. Don't get your hole too close to the edge. That is the one thing I'll tell you. What I'm going to do is just take my knife or my scissors or something and poke a hole. And then when I start pushing, you see I can tear it back and get a nice big chunk out. don't get it too close to your edges that you're going to tie together, because if you do, then it might not have a enough to hold it together. Okay, let's see. There we go. So now I have my hole, and this side needs a little bit more distress. Okay. And I usually just use my fingers for a lot of this. Okay. Now, that's probably enough distress to go on and distress another page or two. Okay, it doesn't have to have a lot of distress here. Is that making sense to everybody? I hope so.
It does. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't see any hands raised. So.
Okay. All right.
So we're gonna work on distressing 2 or 3 pages, and then we're gonna kind of do a next step, just in case. I'd rather get all of the steps down.
This is fun.
It's really good to take out your frustrations.
Oh, I love it. I love cardboard. Who here doesn't love cardboard? We all love cardboard.
I could see Monica's eyes go, yes.
Yeah, everybody loves cardboard. I don't know why, because we do.
I like that sometimes that the tape leaves stuff on my page too. It doesn't hurt my feelings.
You know, my Amazon box, because probably most of us use an Amazon box, had numbers on it, and I left those.
Oh.
Yeah, I just hold it up. See, and number 8.
Ooh, I like that. Now, you do realize that 8's upside down, right?
Yeah, I didn't think it would matter how I held it up. You got the picture, and then there was like part of a 0 was there.
Oh, I like that. My box did not have that.
I'm going to leave those on.
Of course, this is the same box. I used half of it for the other book and half of it for this one. That way I was sure I had all the parts and pieces I needed to be working on the project. Now, another thing is that for our pocket pages, the bottom half does not need to be real distressed, but I did want some of my distress to go down into the pocket so that it looks like the pocket was kind of part of the wall. I didn't want it to stop right there, but this bottom section does not have to have any distressing on it, just so you know. And I really like this page where the whole top of it is peeled off. And on the first step part, that is all I peeled off on this page. This is where we add stuff back. Just so you can kind of get an idea of what you have to do to some of the pages.
Yes, because you kind of feel like ripping the whole thing off.
Right, and you don't really want to do that. If you want it to, you know, you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you take off too much on both sides of your page, you do create an integrity problem with the cardboard. The outside part of the cardboard is what makes it stronger. The corrugated part, the actual waffle part, is by itself is not very strong. The 3 layers is what makes it strong. So you want to consider that when you're tearing it apart. Okay, I think we'll make this a pocket page. So let's get rid of that. Okay.
I just thought of another question.
Okay.
Should you avoid the edge where you know you're going to be putting your string to tie it together? Or no, actually you're tying it together on both sides.
On both sides. So I did not take, on mine, I did not take all of any one side down.
Okay.
All the way across. This one is down in the middle, but not here at the top and bottom. This one is up here at the top, but not clear down here where I put my, so I didn't, the other thing is on the other side of that page, I made sure that it was still solid.
Okay. That's a good thought.
Yeah, make sure that if you take off your edges where your holes are going to be, that you only take it off on one side of your page. The other option is to put something back there. If you realize that your hole is going to be someplace that's going to be too soft, we're going to put some stuff back on it in a minute. And you can always put a piece back over that. It's kind of like the patches, which is exactly what it would be. Okay, let's see here. Uh-oh, that chipper is back.
We cannot hear the chipper.
Oh, he hasn't started yet. They went to lunch.
Okay.
So. That was a big old piece.
Tanya, there's a question from Lynn. She wanted to know if we're distressing all pages.
If you have time, go ahead, Lynn, and distress all of them. Once I get 2 or 3 of them done, I'm going to go on to the next kind of thing. So you're just faster than I am, so keep going. Just remember, you don't have to overly distress them because we're going to put some stuff back on top of them later. Like that is probably as far as I'm going with this one because I know I'm going to put a pocket down here. And I might take some more off down this way.
Hey everyone, Anna Marie is on with her iPad and it seems like she can hear and see us. Yay!
Yay!
Oh, that's great. Awesome.
I'm sorry you had trouble before, dear. We are distressing the cardboard pages is what we're doing for this. I'm going to go over a little bit of how for her. Like where there's tape, I didn't want it to say prime, so I cut a little sort of an X, being careful not to cut all the way through, but just to cut the top layer. And then I start peeling off stuff. And I expose some of the little corrugations underneath. I take it down to where this is a little rough. And on these things, you can leave them or you can tear them off. That just screams Amazon Prime to me. I like Jeri's little numbers, but I don't like that. It just is too Amazon-y primey, so I will just take off part of it. Now, if you want, and I need to show you that, I will show you in just a minute. If you want it to look real, this is a good one, structural, okay? You can actually take your knife, and I'm just making a straight line down like that. I'm sorry, I gotta get my head in here. I'm sorry, guys, I can't see it. Okay, what I did was I made 2 straight lines this way and a straight line that way. Then when I pull it up, I get a nice structural piece that kind of comes out. And that's kind of like they did it they started it on purpose or it tore off in a non-random manner, but then it became random. I'm not sure I'm making any sense whatsoever.
You are making sense.
Okay, good. Because, you know, ugh. All right. Oh, I like that one. Okay, let me get this side a little further, and then we're gonna kind of do a different part. There again, if where the tape is kind of gone and kind of not gone, I like that, but I didn't want it to say Amazon so blatantly. There. Okay, I am going to put a pocket on this one so that you
Are we supposed to cut a hole in one of these, Tanya?
Yes, well, you're not supposed to. You can if you would like.
Okay.
Okay, I did put a hole in one of mine. I did it right here like so. Now, the nice thing about the hole is when you go to that in your book, the hole, let me turn it the right way. The hole, you can see what's on the page behind it, but then when you turn this page, that's not what you see when you turned the page. So it is on the wall that's sneaky back there.
Oh, that is sneaky.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, so I'm going to put a pocket on, I think I'm going to put it on this page, right here. First, I'm going to take that off. The nice thing is too, you know, you start to get something done. If you don't like it completely, we're going to add to it down the way. Now I got some scraps of wallpaper again. Oh, I like this one. I think we'll use that one. And these pockets actually, let me see if I can kind of, they fold all the way around the page. So they are on both sides of the page. I guess I should have said that before.
Oh.
Okay. So what they're going to do is I'm going to cut, I want, say a 3-inch pocket. I didn't measure, just so y'all know, I often do not measure, but I will measure for y'all. I want about a 3-inch pocket or so. So I'm going to measure, and that's 3 inches, and it's about 5.5, because that's how big my cardboard is. Well, 3 inches twice is 6, but I want to tear this edge off. Okay, so I don't want to start with 6 because then I'll have a 2.5-inch pocket.
Right.
I want to start with like 7.5 so that I can tear it down to make me happy. So I'm going to make a piece of this wallpaper that is about 5.5 inches by about 7.5 inches. And let's see here. Okay. Nice thing about wallpaper is you can write on the back of it. And I'm going to go a little over my 5.5-inch mark just because then I have a little playroom. Let's see if I can find the metal ruler. And I'm going to be lazy and not use my scissors. I'm just going to.
So whatever depth you make your pocket, the trick is it needs to wrap around.
That's right. I'm going to just fold it in half like this. No, I didn't even use my bold folder. And then see, it's in half, and I can tuck my little
I
guy
see.
into it just like so.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, the reason I made it 7.5 inches is because
you want to have space to tear.
I wanted it rough and torn, and I didn't want to have to worry about getting it too small.
Here.
So now,
Definitely want there. Okay.
I have this funky rough edge pocket, right? And it's there, and I can see it, and it's hanging over a little bit on each edge. I mean, a 1/16 of an inch on each edge doesn't really matter. If it was short, not a big deal. But I want to work on this page a little bit more before I sew my pocket on. So frankly, when I did my book, I went through and I distressed all of the pages. And then I figured out where I was going to put my pockets, and I cut my pockets. And then I went through and did this next step on all the pages.
Gotcha.
But I don't want to do that for fear we'll run out of time. So
Right.
I'd rather have 2 or 3 pages completely finished, and so I can show you where we're headed. So this is just going to tuck in there. We know it's going to be in there, and I just kind of leave it lay there like that. And now this mess that we just took off, we're going to put some of it back on.
That's what I want to see.
Okay. Sorry, I thought I heard Jeffrey. He's watching them. You know, you don't let the power company cut a tree without standing there and making sure they don't cut anything down they're not supposed to.
Right.
Well, we have a camphor tree that's probably 300 years old, so we have to be very careful to not let them mess with it. Okay, this is a piece I tore off. See, this one actually happens to have some stuff on the back of it, so I have to use this one. So I'm just going to slap some glue on it, and Jeri, this is one of those places where it's kind of fun to, okay, even if it didn't have this piece on the back, can you see the lines on this piece where it matched the corrugation? It's fun.
Not exactly.
Okay, well, I can see the lines, and right now they go this way.
Okay.
It's kind of fun to turn them the other way.
Okay.
Right.
So that you get even more texture. And this is why you have to have some kind of glue other than glue stick, because glue stick just will not, you know, hold this together very well. So I'm just going to put a little glue on here. Am I worried about going out to the edge? No, because I happen to like the ready edges. And then I am going to stick this on here like so. Oops, where'd it go? Yeah, there you go. See, and it just adds another layer. It's not a big layer. It's not a ton of stuff. Here's another little funny piece. I don't like this really tiny curly Q, so I'm going to tear it off. And I'm just going to glue it down. And you can layer 2 or 3 of these pieces over top of one another. You don't want to get too thick. But what I'm doing is I'm gluing the shiny side down to my page and leaving the rough and bumpy side up. And I'm putting on just 2 or 3 pieces on each page will do. Now, while that's drying, I'm going to flip it over and do the other side. Okay, so I have added a piece there, a couple pieces there, a piece there. I didn't add anything down here yet. I'll probably do some letters in there later. Okay, so then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Know where my pocket is going to be and stick some of this stuff that we have down to it.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, you haven't glued your pocket down yet, right?
No, ma'am, I have not. I'm not going to glue my pocket either. I have not put my pocket down for a very important reason. If I put my pocket down first, I can't tuck anything like this scrappy thing that just went into it down in there. And we're going to put on a layer of ink.
Okay.
Okay, and the ink kind of helps it to look even more tattered. So I haven't done, I do the tattering or the layering and the inking before I do my pocket.
Okay.
Okay. I don't need to do my letters yet or my images. And you do want to leave some room for your letters and images when you're putting these extra layers in. Okay. So now, since the other side is more dry than this side, and we'll hope this is wet enough. If not, I may have to take time to ink it, but I'm just going to use a distress ink, but you could use whatever you want. I used a brown ink because I liked the color. Do remember that if you go over distress ink, it can bleed if you use an ink that's not permanent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink the edge of my pocket, just to stress it up some more. And wallpaper is something you want to set aside. See how it got down there? If I rub on it, the wallpaper is vinyl-y and it'll come off on you, just so you know. I end up inky all the time anyway, so it's not a big deal to me. But you always want to ink your pockets before you attach them, because otherwise they're a little hard to ink. Ask me how I know. But now I'm just going to take my ink pad and I'm just kind of going to go over my distressed parts. And can you see what it did? It makes it even more distressed.
I like that.
Now, don't get too much ink. If you've got too much ink, you'll end up with a spot like right there, which I don't like, so I'll have to come back in a little softer. But you see how it pulled pieces up when I did it too? So it kind of chews things up. I did not ink all the edges of my walls. I took more of a let's ink the holes business. And I mean, I inked it real dark on this one. The book, I didn't ink it quite so dark. That's okay, I don't care. And I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to do that again on this side. And it will kind of tear up your little spongy thing, just so you know. My little spongy thing is 100 million years old. I may need a new one someday. I'm just trying to catch the edges of all the ripped parts. Okay, any questions about that? How's everybody doing? Am I going at an okay speed? Okay.
I think so. Anybody? Everybody good?
Everybody good?
Yeah, I think we're doing pretty good.
Okay. Now we come to how we're going to put our pocket on. And we just put our pocket and we're shoving it. We're just taking our page and we're pushing it all the way into the bottom of that little pocket. And then you have to have something to poke holes into. Guaranteed, if you try to poke holes on your mat, it doesn't work very well. So, two things. I didn't tell you paperclip, did I? If you have a little clippy thing, or a bulldog clip, or a paper clip, it really helps if you paper clip your pocket onto your board. I'm sorry I didn't think about that. I thought I wrote things down as I went, but I'm pretty sure I didn't write that
It's
down.
okay, Tanya. I'm sure we have some kind of clips in our
I was going to say, usually
watch everybody jump up and go get their paper clip.
Yep. Get some kind of clip. Especially with wallpaper, it wants to go everywhere because it's a little bit vinyl-y. Finally, don't you love my English?
That's a word. That's a word.
It's a word. Okay. Now, for the pockets and the stitching on the pockets, if it bothers you that they are uneven, then you might need to measure. Tanya wants them very uneven.
That's okay.
So the more uneven I can get them, the happier it makes me. But I did not. They are roughly 3/8 of an inch apart. Let me see. Yep, 3/8 of an inch apart. The other thing is that I can usually measure a lot of things without measuring. So I just took my lovely little pokey tool and I put my book over the edge. Any kind of book you have that you got a decent spine in, telephone book is fabulous. I use this telephone book all the time. I don't know what I'm going to do when it's dead. But I just took my pokey tool and about 3/8 of an inch in, and every 3/8 of an inch, I took my pokey tool and I punched these wonderful holes, and that's out too far. I don't know if y'all have one of these. I like this tool, but if you get the pokey part out too far, it flexes. And I just poked holes like so. Now, if you get to your paper clip and it's in your way, just move it. But if you poke it with it wrapped around like that, you're poking all the way through, so everything is done. So then I'm just going to turn it over and do the exact same thing on the other side, about every 3/8 of an inch. And I think I put 3 pockets in my book. You can put as many pockets in or not as you would like. My classroom is so quiet.
I keep muting myself because I'm making a racket back here.
Me too.
Well, that's okay.
But we're here. We're working feverishly.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. But see, by poking all the way through, now, knowing that you poked through from one side, there is a raised spot on the other side, on the opposite side. I poked through from this side, so this side's a little raised. Sometimes if you try to make your needle go through that way, it's not as easy. So the first thread I will go through from the direction I poked my holes. Does that make sense? Hope so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to get out some embroidery floss for this part. And I usually use a needle with no point on it. Just whatever happens along. This is a nice big one, and it's got glue on it too. Oh, lovely. Okay. It's a nice big needle. I'm not worried about making my holes too big, but I don't want to fight with the needle. And I have this lovely little stash of junky embroidery floss that actually came from my mother-in-law's house. And I think we will use some brown. Oh, I like that light brown. We'll use light brown on this one. I might have to use light brown on one side and not something else on the other. Good spot to use stuff up. Don't short yourself thread ever. It's not worth it. Oof. I had to wait until the middle of July for an eye appointment. It'll be August before I can have my surgery.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tanya.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I shouldn't have waited so long to have it looked at. Okay, I'm going to be really lazy and I'm going to use this whole piece of thread. Don't get it too long. But I'm going to start at the top because I want my little spots where I tie it to be at the top rather than at the bottom. So I'm going to start from the top. And I'm going to sew through there. But I'm going to leave myself about 4 inches. Okay, I don't like to fuss. I don't like to try to tie it with 2 inches of thread. So a nice 4 or 5 inches. And I'm going to come around the edge of the book. Okay, and I am just going to wrap it around the edge of this. If I was trying to do a really pretty decorative embroidery stitch, this is not how you do it. Okay, we can get rid of our paper clip now, and we're just going to keep going until I get to the bottom hole.
So you're just doing around and around.
Round and around. Yep. Now, when you get to the bottom hole, this is where the whole thing comes together in a different way. If you take your needle and go back through the same hole, right? You went through that just now. That's the last hole. I go back through the last hole. Okay?
Okay.
And what will happen is the bottom thread, the bottom stitch will be kind of straight across there. I hope you can see that okay. But then I just do the exact same thing, only that's the bottom hole. This is my next one. I just go through the next hole up. Well, what happens is that because it came out from the bottom of this bottom hole to the next hole up, I get a cross. So it looks like a zigzag sort of thing that happens. So again, I'm just going around and around, but now I'm working my way back up.
I didn't get enough thread off to go back up.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay, that's not a big deal. Okay.
That's good.
Get yourself another piece of thread. Go back up, leaving yourself a tail. And tie the 2 tails at the bottom together and the 2 tails at the top together.
Okay.
Okay. Yours is just a little different. No big deal.
I've always been a little different.
I'm sorry. I should have told you you needed enough thread to go up and down twice. I apologize.
Well, I've got a really thin thread, so I'm doing a double.
Uh-huh.
So, where'd it go?
Okay, so then once I get up there, I'm just going to make some knots in this thread. And I can't do that up in the air, but I'm just going to tie it in a few knots. Now, if you wanted to, you could leave longer tails right here and attach stuff. Okay? I don't want to. So I'm just going to cut it off about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. Okay? but don't throw this away. I told you, you can't throw anything away till your book's all done. Don't throw that away. So see, now I have this little funky thing sticking out. Barbara's going to have that same funky thing sticking out down here where she had to tie together. Not a big deal. If it happens in the middle of your book or the middle of your thing, hello, Holly. Not a big deal. Hi, Journey. So I'm going to do the other side the same way. And okay, I have, about 6 times the length right there. And that's probably going to just do this other side, is the 6 times. But I'm going to turn it over and start from this side because remember, if you go from the way you punched, it's a little easier. I see a kitty cat at Holly's house. I need to look out the window a minute. I'll be right back.
She's got people chipping wood and cutting trees.
Hopefully they're not cutting down her tree.
I've got to say hello to Holly.
He's not watching them at all, so I guess, you know, he's got his back to them.
And Journey,
if they cut down the tree, then so far it's tiny little branches about this big around he's cutting. So maybe a little bit like this, which is okay. As long as he doesn't cut any big ones, I'm good.
I need a paper clip. Hold on. I'll be
Okay.
online.
What did she say?
She needs a bigger paper clip.
Okay.
Did I do it right?
I said I'm a little behind, Tanya.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't find my distress ink. Oh, I have to mute myself.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Yes, they're cutting down trees, but the tree guy, the tree cutter guy is not the noisy one. It will be the when they come to chip that mess all up. That will be.
Maybe it will be done by then.
Yeah, I doubt it because as soon as they get back from lunch, they'll probably do it. But hopefully it won't be too. It's not going to be as loud as when they did the magnolia tree. They actually took our magnolia tree completely down. So.
Oh.
It's okay. It needed some major work done to it, and they were willing to take the tree completely down for nothing. So Jeffrey had already said he was afraid it was going to need to come down.
Yeah.
This property had not been cared for in a long time, so we've already had trees all across the back dealt with last year that had been left and not taken care of properly. Okay,
I love the way these pockets look.
You like them?
Yes, I do.
How's everybody else doing? Everybody else doing okay?
Are you doing the pocket on every page?
No, I'm only doing a pocket on 3 pages.
Okay.
Is what I did. I did 3 pages with pockets. Now, like I said, you can put as many pockets as you want on, but we are going to put a belly band on one, and you don't want a pocket on your one with the hole. I didn't think I wanted one on the front cover. And let me see. I've got everything all kind of discombobulated here. I didn't want a pocket on the front cover. I have a hole, which you don't really want the pocket on the hole so much. And then the back cover, I didn't want a pocket on this, and I put the belly band on there. So I put the pockets on the other 3 pages. So.
I'm going to put a little glue on this knot
Since you cut it off a little short. Mm-hmm.
No, but just for fun.
Okay. And like I said, all of these strings, if you had made them really long, you could put stuff on them if you wanted to.
Right. Oh, that is totally cute. Well, I may come back and finish my other pocket after we do the next thing. Oh, that is totally cute. I love it.
Do you love it, Barb?
I love it. See that?
Oh,
Okay, remember to save your little strings because we're going to use them.
Oh, where'd my strings go? There they went.
Okay, now that's a pocket page. So other than our art on the pocket page, I've made a pocket page. How are we doing on our pocket pages? Is everybody getting it?
Feel free to unmute if you need to.
I'm doing good.
All right.
Okay.
I'm behind, but I think I can catch up.
I'm
Okay,
behind
well, I'll
too.
tell you, Samantha, it's all right. I'm going to do a little bit, it's 1 o'clock now. I'm going to do a little bit of more distressing.
Okay.
And then we'll go on in a minute. I'm going to give us a few minutes of everybody to catch up.
Thank
Since
you.
I don't have all my pages distressed anyways.
Good, because I'm still sewing my first pocket.
Yeah, I couldn't find my distress ink.
Well, and you only need one pocket really to stitched up. Oh. Yeah, you guys can't even hear him cut, so it'll be the other guys.
Well, we survived the vacuuming in my house, so it'll be all right.
It never fails when I do a Zoom. Somebody gets out their lawnmower. My neighbor did.
Sunday mornings, I swear the neighbor gets out her leaf blower just for spite.
Do you think people could do that on a different day?
Oh, honey, she does it on a different day, but Sunday mornings, because of my live, I swear she does it all day long. I've never met anyone who used a leaf blower quite as much as she does, but.
Oh, come live in my neighborhood.
Well, the other problem is she blows her leaves right into the storm drain. We already have issues with water. We've tried to tell her.
I know it. What is the thinking there? It's
yeah, well, she only thinks about herself. That much I can tell you. We have lovely neighbors all over. And they're wonderful. They're really nice. They keep their yard nice. And they have sweetest puppies. They're giant, but they're sweet. Jeffrey can walk right in the yard. They don't even care, but somebody else walk in the yard, they will not let you. But one of them's a St. Bernard, and you know that the woof that they get, that one gets a bunch of woof.
Oh, I love this little binding for the pocket. That is so neat.
I've done that. Oh, it was in our Totally Junk journal. I did something. I sewed something up that way.
I saw somebody doing this one recently. I pinned it on my bookbinding pages when I was looking for stuff to bind my creative year together. I was collecting ideas.
Oh.
That is really quite lovely.
Oh, I can't wait to see everyone's. I hope we're going to have a little show and tell.
Well, that's why we may not finish all our pages.
Okay.
Right.
But you'll know, I mean, really and truly, the different parts and pieces, you end up doing the same thing over again.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I love to put everybody's finished project on my gallery page on my website. And so I'll give you, my email address if you don't have it. It's recyclepartsforart@gmail.com. If you send me a photograph after the fact, I would love it.
Okay. Now I have plenty of string.
My pocket's done.
Do it another whole sequence. An abundance of string.
Since we're working on a distressing project, I just wanted to share my little distress thing. It's a clover, and of course those of you that are watching the recording cannot see this, but it's a little clover tool. It says Japan on it. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Guys, we're in here, and I guess it's a thread cutter, maybe. Really?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I use it to distress around the outside edges of my papers and things.
Oh, aren't you clever?
I am clever, and I'll put a link to it in the description box below so everybody knows what I am talking about who's watching the replay.
And yours is pretty. Mine just is a purple plastic thing.
Oh, oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that one. I actually also have this thing. It's called a Zutter. It's a little machine that you can put your papers through, and it rips the edges. It is super handy if you're doing a lot of pages at once, and it takes cardboard and cardstock, and I'll see if I can lay my hands on it quick.
Okay, because I've never seen that. I've heard that name before, but I thought it was a binding tool.
Okay. Put that away for now.
Yeah, they have both the binding tool and
the distresser?
Distresser, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put myself in the spotlight for a second so that people online can see this too. I did find it. Hold on.
And I don't know.
This is a Zutter. It's a machine. You plug it in, and it actually rips. There's a blade in there. When you plug it in and you press, it's not plugged in, obviously, but when you press your stuff down and you just push it along, it runs it along. Like this blade moves, and it kind of drags the cardboard or whatever along and distresses it. I love it. And this is the other thing that's actually a thread cutter. It's from Clover. All right, back.
And mine is by Clover too, and it's just purple. And I have no idea where it's at. But back when you couldn't take even blunt scissors on airplanes, you could take those little cutter things on an airplane. Oh, I didn't.
Yes, I think mine as well. All right, you're back on the spotlight there. I just wanted to show. I love my little machine. It's called a Distress, Distrezz, It All by Zutter.
And who was it that spoke up and said that Zutter also has a binding tool?
I did.
Kathy.
I don't know. Oh, that's Kathy. Okay. Because I had heard of Zutter before, Jeri, but I had never heard of it as a distresser, only as the binding tool.
Yes. Yeah.
I've got the binding tool, and it's wonderful too.
Yeah.
It's the one that pulls open the plastic ring things, right, Kathy?
It uses the metal.
The metal ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lynn says it's called. Lynn's in the chat. She says it's called a Zutter Bind It All.
Aha. Yeah.
It's been so long since she's played with her art. She forgot she had half the stuff. Right?
There's a few different versions of the Zutter Bind It All. There's actually a version 1, version 2.
Okay.
I have the version 2. It's the smaller of the two. If you get one, I absolutely recommend watching a YouTube video on how to work it. but
Okay.
I loved mine once I learned how to use it.
Well, I haven't invested in one of those yet because most of the bindings I do are something weird, you know, some different things all the time. So I just kind of have not gone there with binders. One of the other things is that should we move towards getting this book accomplished and not get it finished, the nice thing about it is the way it's put together, you can always go back and untie them and work more on the pages. Does that make sense at all?
Yes,
So
good point.
I'm definitely not going to get all 6 of my pages done today, but I can still punch the holes and show you what you need to do. And you know, you can go back, and if you have to decorate more or whatever, you will be able to do that. So that being said, I'm going to show you how to do the belly band.
Oh, good.
Okay. Now, the belly band is going to go on your back cover. All right.
So you have to decide what your back cover is going to be.
Yeah. So if you haven't got a piece and you just may want to watch or get it ready to put to the back cover, but the back cover you want, whatever your outside is going to be, you don't want a pocket there. You want it to be a cover. And the inside, we're going to put the belly band. So I'm going to...
Show us your back side where the belly band is on the other side of that page again.
Sure. This is my back cover.
Oh, okay, so you just wrap it around and you tie it at the edge, and there it is.
And the belly band's on the other side.
That is totally cute.
So it's just really nothing spectacular. It is just, oh dear. And you know what? I think that is one of those things that ran off to, nope, it's here where it belongs. Y'all know my mom's, well, I used to sew a lot, but when we moved, I got rid of all of my little pieces of fabric. So I didn't have any pieces of fabric. So I told my mom, I said, you know what? I need some little pieces of fabric, Mom. And so I said, save me pieces. And she said, well, you know, I use my scraps for applique. I said, yeah, but the stuff you're going to put in the trash can is what I want. So she brought me a baggie of trash can.
So it just needs to be as tall as our page plus a couple inches, right?
Yeah, it needs to be as tall as your page plus an inch or so, top and bottom, so a couple inches. Now on this piece, I just folded it in half. Okay, but this piece is not going to be tall enough to do that with, as you can see. What I am going to do is I'm going to make it about 1.5 inches or so wide. No, that's 1.25 inches. And I'm just going to cut it. And needless to say, this is all raggedy. So I'm cutting it raggedy. I don't care.
Let's see if I can rip.
Yep, a rip it would work, but you know, it only rips 1 grain. Okay, so then I have this other little piece, but it's not tall enough for my whole book. Right here. So I am just going to, it's barely tall enough. See, it's just barely, it's not going to make it. So I'm going to just trim it into about the same width.
This is exciting. I've wanted to use this piece of fabric for a long time.
And then I'm going to just, and you notice this is not ironed or anything good like that. I want some of my black to show. I want some of this to show. So I'm going to just lay it on there like that. And I'm putting it in the middle because if I stick it in the middle and then I can cut it off later. And I'm just going to stick it there like that. I'm going to find my embroidery thread, which, you know, left home. Okay. There's a fun piece sticking out. That's not embroidery thread. This is some kind of craft thread. Okay. That's all right. We're just going to use it. Okay. And I'm just going to sew those two pieces together. Just, you know, on the first one, I sewed it together. I folded it and sewed it. And this one, I'm just going to sew it together just to have it add a little strength. And if you notice, I still have my silly needle that doesn't have a point. So we'll see how well it sews. And I'm doubling this thread. It's really, you know, decorative. It's really not. The first piece of fabric is heavy enough, it would have held it together. It would hold my papers in. But by stitching this on, not only is it decorative, it adds a little strength to it. So, yep, it's going to work just fine. I am just doing a big old, oops, I'm sorry. The kind of stitch your husband does because he doesn't have a clue. All right, and it's an in and out kind of stitch, running stitch. That's the name of it. It's a running stitch. But these are big stitches because they're just there for the fun of it.
I think my grandma called it the basting stitch.
Basting stitch, and yes, that would, if you were using that big of a stitch length, it would be a basting stitch. You can also gather with it. When you use when you do a basting stitch that's that long, you can pull it up and gather things like that. My terminology left home when I lost my brain cells. They just went away, and I don't know when that was. Probably about the time I was 40.
You had one too many things you had to put in that brain.
Yeah, I guess that was it.
So now everything spills out.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right. I figure it's on a need to know basis. If I need to know it, I'll figure it out again.
There you go.
The word.
I often say it's information overload.
Yes.
My CPU is too small.
Yes.
I've got too many tabs open at once.
Yep, there you go. That's right. Okay, so now I have plenty of this thread left. Let me see if I can show you. See, I got quite a bit left. So I'm going to use that to stitch it to my book. So I have this side. This is the side I'm going to put my belly band on. This is my belly band. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold these big pieces down. And they can be folded down on this side. They can be folded over the top. On this one, I folded it over the top so that it shows on the other side. And I think that's kind of cool, so I'll probably do that again. I'm just going to fold it to the other side. And this is longer than I need. I can cut it off later. Can
you just glue it on the other side?
You sure could. Because I'm going to stitch through the whole thing. I'm just going to stitch through the whole thing, Barbara.
And do you want it in the very center, or can it be offset?
It can be offset or it can be in the center. Now, you don't want it too far over to either left or right because remember your ties.
Yeah, okay. I think I'm just going to glue it on there.
And you're going to need to punch some holes with your pokey tool. So again, your paper clips are handy.
Oh, to stitch around the edge of it.
Yeah, if you're going to stitch it all the way around the edge, your paper clips are handy to hold it on there. And you want it fairly snug because otherwise your papers don't stay in very well. Ask me how I know.
Right. Okay.
I didn't get the first one on snug enough. I had to take it off and start over again.
I'm gluing.
And I am just going to poke a few holes, and then I'm just gonna whip stitch it around, and that's basically what we did before, was whip stitching it. Come on, stay out there.
So is this belly band to keep the book closed? I'm a little confused.
No, the belly band is not to keep the book closed. I'll show you. The belly band is, where'd it go? It's right here. What I do with the belly band is I tuck, these are just note papers that you could write on, or
Okay, that's what I was.
put secret messages on, and you just use it to tuck stuff in.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so pretty.
And I'm just going to take this and see if I can find the holes. And I'm just going to whip stitch around it, and I'm not worrying about making it pretty, because there again, I don't care. If you want to make it pretty. Please don't make it funky just because I do. This black fabric makes it hard to find the holes.
Don't screw this up. Oh, my little 3 square inches on my desk. It's not enough.
Well, these tree guys showed up yesterday, so I spent the afternoon, because Jeff was gone, I spent the afternoon keeping them from cutting anything yesterday.
Oh.
Well, I knew that he would have a fit. When I finally got hold of him, he was home in 5 minutes. He must have driven the 6 miles in about 80 seconds.
Here's my belly band. Here's my belly band.
Okay, I had this really long string here. I think I might leave it and maybe attach something to it as a decoration. So I'm just gonna cut it off my needle. I don't know that I will, but I might. So, you know, I often leave little things like that just in case. And that one will be at the top, so that's okay. That will work.
I have to tell you, my neighbor is trimming all his bushes now and and weed whipping.
Oh no!
Man, I tell you, so that's why I keep muting myself. I don't know if can you hear it?
No.
No. Now they have just now moved the chipper out front, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh boy.
They do a lot of sitting. I don't know. They haven't moved a lot.
They're probably getting paid by the hour.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Okay. How's everybody doing? I know a couple people had to leave.
Well, and Holly and Journey popped in.
Yes. I saw Journey. I don't think did I see Holly?
And no. I don't know who the iPad belongs to.
They're there.
Is that Anna?
I'm not sure. I think it is.
Okay.
Monica, do you know, is that Anna? Because she said she came back on her iPad.
Yes, that was Anna, and she was asking about a replay, and I put in the chat that there would be a replay probably on YouTube. Is that right, Jeri?
Yes.
Yeah.
Providing everything goes well when we download the recording, yes.
I hear that.
Yes. We have had a problem once or twice, and we're not able to do that, but all right. Oh, cut my thread off. I didn't mean to.
That happens. Just tie another one to it because, you know, that makes it funky.
Yes, we're going to use a different colors. Make it look like I did it on purpose.
Oh, there you go.
Don't you wish you could just like do this stuff every day, all day long?
I do. I just don't usually have company.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Well, you know, I used to think that about beads too, and I have for some reason outgrown that or something.
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing beads 20 some years now, and the last two has been the only time that have felt this way.
Mm.
So.
Okay.
Okay. Oops. I started to throw my little tails away. No throwing of tails away. So now we have a belly band that can hold on to some stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. And I have funkiness on the back, which I'm going to cut off. But I think I'm going to cut off kind of jaggedy. Yeah. And maybe pull out some threads. Oh, yeah. There we go. Funky threaded thingies. Now, how are we doing with everybody? How's everybody catching up?
I'm just stitching my belly band on. How about everybody else? Are we ready for the next step?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, and we kind of have the different pages. We need to do a little bit more decorating. And then I need to show you how to put it together. And I don't by any means have all my pages done. I don't even have a couple of them even half started. So
me neither.
Okay.
That's fine because all we need to do is know the steps. We have our pocket pages. We have our belly band. We know how to do our lovely distressing. But now we need to make some art, and we need to make it look like they were tagged is the word for it. So that's the next thing we're going to do. So we're going to hunt up some letters or some words. And I was going to show, for anybody that is not familiar with, I actually did a video on this. This is a photo album. My letters are all discombobulated right now. The A is and B is after the D. But these are photo album pages that I have altered a little bit by opening the top and closing the sides. I can get in and out my little letters better.
Oh.
I found that when you were shoving them in the side, it didn't work very well. So what I've done is opened this side, but this side is this way, so I can tuck images, or sometimes I have this, it hasn't gotten finished yet, obviously. I can tuck little words in there, that way, where I'm not putting a bunch of things. This is so I can keep lots of little letters in one place. And I haven't near finished this by any means. See my big old pile of letters.
Okay.
So I am going to pull out a word. I'm going to pull out a set of letters. I think I'm just going to use. I think I'm going to go for create, and I'm going to run it down beside my belly band. So I will just pull out some letters to spell that word. Oh, except that one went on the floor. Create is a word I use a lot for some reason.
Of course, she took 20.
One of these days I'm going to get this actually finished. That is, here is something I'll use later. That one says be inspired. I need a C is what I need. C, I need a C and an N. And it looks like I have no C's. All right. So when you don't have a C, you have to go to your pile and find a C, or you have to go in the magazine and find a C. And hopefully that is going to get filled up before we start to travel so that I don't have to think about having a magazine with me.
You better put it on your list.
Put it on my list of things to get done?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, my list is a whole traveler's notebook full, right?
I know. I got one of those lists.
I'm looking for a decent sized C. Oh, that's a good word. Explore. Okay, that C will do if there's nothing on the other side. Yep.
More. Beautiful.
Oh gosh, I just found in my little word pile. If you're not dead yet, you're not done yet.
That, oh, I like that. Oh, we need to, that's got to be on a card.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm going to put it on one of my Rolodex cards.
I was going to say, it needs to be on one of your Rolodex cards.
If you're not dead yet, you're not done yet. Holy mackerel.
Okay, can you hear them?
No.
Okay, good, because they're ramping that thing up big time. So if it gets too bad, let me know. I am just going to rough cut out my letters because
I'll be right back.
What? Oh,
she'll be right
back. If ransom notes, you wouldn't take the time to trim out your letters really fancy and nice. So we're just going to roughly cut them out.
Find my scissor.
And then I'm going to glue them down. And when I go to glue them down, I'm going to use my liquid glue. Sticking to cardboard, the other stuff just doesn't stick very well. So I'm not going to use a ton, but I'm going to stick them with the liquid glue. And I like that sometimes the letters overlap the other one. Doesn't hurt my feelings. Then we can have a space. C-R-E-A. Uh-oh.
I saw Linda had put the mower out here right underneath my window.
Oh, of course. It's one of those days.
Of course.
I almost spelled the word wrong. Now, it does help if you can spell. When you write ransom notes, it does help if you can spell. Now then, around my ransom note letters, I used my Stabilo pencil. Does everybody know what these are? When I say Stabilo pencil, raise your hand if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, everybody does. Goody.
Yeah. We're artists here.
Well, you know, I've had lots of people say, well, why do you need that? You don't. Any water-soluble black pencil will work. Any pencil will work. But pencil, and I have, this is a graphite stick. Okay, it is a 6B graphite stick. It works too. Okay, but it's not as dark as the Stabilo. So see that? Can you see the difference there?
Yeah.
And so I like, for this particular project, I like this. On my 100-day project that I've been doing, the graphite's been making me perfectly content. Now, once I get it on there, I take my finger and I smudge it all over the place. I don't think if it got wet that it would stay in those places because it's not truly activated with your finger, but it does seem to stay pretty well. It does, however, make your fingers black. Well, guess what, guys?
What?
I think they're done.
Oh, good.
Maybe not completely, but close. Okay, so that shows us how we do our little words.
Cool.
Okay?
I do love that.
All right, but then sometimes we want to just write on it. Well, all I did was, let's find, which one are we going to write on? We will write this one. I used Posca pens, and I don't have a lot of colors of Posca pens. I just have white and black ones because I knew that with the 5,000 other pens I have, that white and black is probably all I'd ever use. So let me see what we want to say here. Okay, how am I want to make it do it?
My letters are still stuck to words.
Yes, mine too. Oh, there's Journey's name, Journey.
She's
Oh,
been
look
there.
at that.
Oh, there she is. Yep. So then once I've done that, then I come back in with my white one and just make little dots along it. It just kind of, I don't know, made it look kind of like tag art kind of thing. That R was tiny. I didn't get very big. But that page is lacking something. So when it was lacking something, that is when I did something like this.
You stuck a little piece of fabric down.
I stuck a little piece of fabric down.
Okay.
Now, to stick that little piece of fabric down, first off, you want to think about what I sewed all the way through, okay?
Oh, that's cool.
But if you don't want it to, say you already did this side and you're like, oh, I don't want that where I'm putting this piece of fabric, I don't want that. Well, then sew your little pieces together and glue them down. But I'm going to sew this one all the way through because my other side's not done yet. So that's what I'm going to do. This one just is, the composition is just not there yet. Something about it is not making me happy. So I'm just going to take a couple of these little pieces of fabric. Something about this one just doesn't make me happy. There we go. I think I like that.
That looks nice.
I think I like that. And since I have some of this thread left, that's what I'm going to use. Oh, that's if I can find my needle. Okay, there we go.
Can I see your belly band for a second?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, now what I did was I just flipped it over to the other side. I sewed it all the way around the top.
Okay.
Did we lose Lisa? No, there she is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think instead of fighting with this, I'm going to get out a needle that's got a point on it, which I do have, and I have a big one. Every once in a while, you need one that has a point on it, or I thought I had one. Yeah. That will allow me to just poke randomly through there. If I have to, I can shove it through with by turning it upside down. I like the fact that the back side will have a little funky star. And then when I decorate the back side, I'll decorate around that. Oh, that was good. Well, this thread has a knot in it. Okay. I have to tell y'all, these guys were kind of nice too. The tree in the street that overhangs from the neighbor's yard across the street, it hangs down and is really close to the top of the motorhome. And Jeff has already trimmed it with the neighbor once, but it still was really close because they couldn't reach up high enough. So these guys cut off some branches out in the street, which they don't have to do because it doesn't affect the power lines. So that was really nice of them, actually. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of whip stitch this sort of in a star shape. I'm just going to kind of sew around sew around in a circle kind of thing. Kind of sort of a button on here would be fun. Beads on here would be fun. It'd be fun to stitch it in a little square too. I hadn't thought about that till I did this one already. So. And I just leave all my little threads and knots and stuff there. I just Okay. The other thing you can do is take those little threads that we saved, these little pieces, and you can stick them under a word or, yeah, let's just do that right here. I have this fun words that said be inspired.
Tanya, I've got to leave in a few minutes. Are you going to show how to put the pages together?
Okay, I will right now. Okay, so
Okay, that's good.
The decorating, we'll go over the decorating in just a minute, but right now let's do that part because it's real simple. What you have to decide is which is your back page, which is the next one, which is the front page. Now, when you go to do this, remember that your back cover should be kind of, you know, not have too much stuff that you want to stick in it. And so should your front cover. You want to place the one you put a hole in where it's going to make it fun. You know, let me see where my hole page is. Where's my hole? I lost my hole. There it is. Okay, so if I put it in on the back cover, then I can see right here. That's cool. It sees part of my pocket, however it goes. So that page is going to see through there and see through there. Well, if you get them out of order, untie them and put them back. But your back cover is only going to have holes in one side. So we need to lay them out sort of like this. That the back cover is to your right, and then inside pages until you get clear over to the left where your front cover is. Okay? Because right now I think I have that. Yeah, okay, I have it okay. So then what we need to do is we need to figure out where we're going to put our holes. And I have this thing called a centering ruler, and I like it. It works real well for me. These are 8-inch tall pages. I can come off about 3/8 of an inch. That's a black one. It'll probably show up better. And I can mark my, I'm going to be about 1 inch up from the bottom, 1 inch down from the top, and right in the center. So I'm going to put these holes in here. Okay? And on this page, sorry, there was string in the way. Okay, on the back cover, it's only punched on one side. And I'm going to slide it over here so you can see this other one a little bit better. But on this next page, and all the pages till you get to the front cover, it's got to be punched on both sides. Okay, so all of these inside pages need to have 2 sets of holes in them. Now, that is one of the things you got to look at when you go to put a hole where your thread is. See where your pocket stitch is? You might need to go in a little bit so that you don't catch your thread. Let me put one more set of holes in here. And then you have options for making your holes. Okay. You can take your pokey tool and make holes. I'm going to cheat so that I can get it done faster. I'm going to use my crocodile, my bitey thing. Okay. You don't want a really big hole. You just want a hole. And frankly, if you got this tool, use it. It's really nice. Y'all did this to me, you know. I didn't have one of these. It was, I think, Lisa that did it.
They're awesome tools. Yeah, they are awesome. And mine has two sizes.
Yes, this
And
one has two sizes, and it has you can do eyelets and
yeah.
the likes of that with it. The I'm using the small hole because you don't need a big hole. Your pokey tool will do it.
Okay.
Okay, and I got paint on my pockets, so I'll have to go back and decorate my pockets. See what I did?
Yeah.
So let me get one more done so that I can actually show you how to do it. And like I said, you get them together and you don't like the way it flips, you untie them and you put them back together a different way.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. So we have our back cover, and I highly recommend you go from the back cover. It just makes life easier.
That does work.
Yeah. So, and then we have the next one and the next one. String. You need something that is reasonably sturdy. Okay. I did not use my waxed linen in here because I didn't want that waxy stuff getting on everything. I am a firm believer in waxed linen, but this wasn't going to work for this.
Okay.
The embroidery floss is going to take an awful lot of abuse here. So I would not use embroidery floss. I would find something like twine or something else. Now you could use a nylon thread. Just remember that nylon thread runs, and so you need to burn the ends. And all I did was took the end of my string, I stuck it through one hole. Oh gosh, don't tell me I can't get that through that hole.
So are you using one long string?
Oh, it's still attached to the thing.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. It's one of my, I don't want to waste it things.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm using a twine that is not going to fit in this hole. I do know that.
Okay, well then you might have to find a different twine or a bigger hole. I just went down through this hole and up through that hole. Okay, so that they still lay side by side. I'm leaving about 1/4 of an inch. Don't want them real tight together. And then I'm going to tie a square knot. Now see, I didn't pull the, let me
just doing that.
Lynn just asked a question. Lynn, she's about 3/8 inch from the edge of her cardboard, the hole.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's about how far from the edge of the hot cardboard I have my holes. Mm-hmm. And that's about how much space I'm leaving in between the cardboards.
Okay.
When I go to tie this, I want it loose. I do not want it tight together. It won't flex and be nice. And if you don't know how to tie a square knot, I can never explain it, but there's lots of really good YouTube videos. I just look at it because that's how I have always done it. And a square knot means that you don't have to do a bunch of tying. You don't have to have a huge knot. So I just tie a square knot. You see it's about 3/8 of an inch apart. I did not measure. I did cut these off at about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And yes, I threw this little piece away. And then I go to the next hole down and I put it through this one. Sometimes it's easier if I show it like this, maybe.
You're just tying each one individually.
Each one individually. And the big thing is not to get your threads crossed in there. You want a loop of thread
between each one.
See how it's got a loop?
Right.
It doesn't cross, and see how it's loose?
Okay.
Okay. And it's still attached to my spool, so I don't waste a whole lot. I just like so. And that was not a square knot because I wasn't looking at it. So we're going to put another knot in it and cut it off. So each time I go down, I just do all 3. Okay, and then once I get this one done, we will move to the next page. I try to keep them lined up top and bottom just so that I don't get too big of a loop in one place. I want flex and I want a loop, but I don't want it to be hugely different from one to another. And I'm talking and I can't tie a square knot when I talk, apparently. Granny knots work for 3 things in, 2 or 3 knots. Okay, so once I get that page done, I'm going to move it over like so. You see I have that, and I'm going to just do the next one right here beside it. Let's see if I can hold it in my lap. There we go. And honestly, this is easier when you're not trying to show somebody. It really isn't that hard.
So do you just keep going across and doing that, or is there a point at which?
That's all you do, is you just keep going across. The next page would then attach. You just move it sideways. In just a minute, and I'll lay this other book out.
Because we're running out of time. I would love to see a little show and tell before.
Yes, and that's why. Okay, so here is my back page.
Yep.
Right, that's my back page, and
yes,
that's Apparently, I didn't finish this book because it's not. But see, this is the back page. This is the second to the back page. Next one. And see how they're all just tied together in a row. Mm-hmm. And then there's my front cover.
Fabulous.
So I just fold my front cover in. I fold this one back, this one this way, this one back, and this one this way. And now it does its flippy thing. Because like when I turn this one, then the next time when you pick this one up, it turns 2 pages. And now can you see where you turn the 2 pages?
Yeah.
So as you turn, it's turning 2 pages till you get to the back cover, and there's only one. And then it turns 2 pages again.
It's amazing. It's so simple.
It's so simple. Now, I had never heard it called a never-ending book until I was watching Elizabeth Brewer, and she had done something, and I cannot tell you what it was, and she called it a never-ending book. Okay. And I thought, oh, that is too dang cool. So
yes. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay.
All right.
Is there anything else you would like to add? Because do any of you, would you be willing to do a little show and tell? Yes?
And Monica?
I'll show.
Okay, not yet. We just want to give, because I want to stop this recording and start another one. So Tanya, do you have
show when you're ready?
Yeah, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so, guys.
It was awesome.
I do a live on YouTube on Sundays at noon. As often as I can.
Yes.
I do a big thing for those of you who don't know me. I have been doing a project we're into it about 6 months on Sundays. It's called Totally Junk Journal. It might be going to evolve and change a little bit, but it's been a lot of fun. We have used like this, only junk mail, security envelopes, book pages, stuff like that. So
it's a tremendous amount of fun. It's 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. It's 1 o'clock, and it's really a lot of fun. So if you haven't been in, you can pick up at any point too. You don't have to feel like you have to go back and watch the beginning. You can start wherever she is that day.
And like this last week, we made journal cards, or you could use them for postcards, journal cards, tags, however you wanted to use them. That's what we made. So.
And I'll have links in the description box below the replay video so you can find her channel real easy. So thank you so much, Tanya. This project was awesome. And we all want to keep working because we want to finish our books. Unfortunately, we
now I have a second one I have to finish though, see.
Exactly. I know. Well, you can gift it. You know, you can do it as a
good idea. That's what I want to add. My page that I made, and you can have.
Yeah, that's awesome. That would be really super fun. You should do that, Tanya.
I'll see whether I want to make a second one or not. I might make a second one and, like you said, give it away. I'm fast approaching 2,000 subscribers, so I might do that. So
that is
okay,
so
let's have show and tell before.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you so much, Tanya.